Alrighty. So that's our moneymaker for tonight. Feeling good? So let's head over to our NBA Power Rankings. We update this every Friday. Unfortunately, we didn't do a show yesterday. Unfortunately, my apologies. That kind of live draft show where we were live for freaking 4.5 hours on that first night. Oh, man. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but man, oh man, it took a little bit out of us last night, or 2 nights ago. But here we are back with our NBA Power Rankings. So this was the Power Rankings coming into this week. Wizards at 10, Bucks at 9, Nets at 8, 76ers at 7, Knicks at 6, Suns at 5, Celtics at 4, Jazz at 3, Nuggets at 2, and the Clippers, the number 1 team coming into this week. But this week has been a little bit different, folks. We don't have any new teams in the top 10, so no team is falling out of the top 10, but we have a new kind of, we are going to do something special in a second once we tip off, but we do have a lot of movement in the top 10 here. A lot. Basically, has anybody kept their spot from last week? Every team is somewhere new, so everybody's moving. Everybody is moving. One team stays the same. But new number 1, new number 2. New number 3, new number 4, new number 5, new number 6, new number 7, new number 8. Number 9 stays the same. We'll spoil that. And new number 10. So let's just jump right into it. Before we start at number 10, we got to start at number 11, folks. We don't really make an exception for, we don't really put it, we don't go 11 teams deep in our top 10. We do top 10. That's why it's top 10. You understand? But we have to make this exception just because of how so freaking great they've been and how unfortunate their season has been. But in this back half, got to applaud them 1,000%. We're betting them every night. If you're not keeping pace of our moneymaker, we bet this team and we're getting so many points and they're winning outright. They're just winning outright. 10 points, plus 10, plus 11, plus 4. They're winning outright, and we've been making so much money on them that we got to respect them a little bit here. So this honorable number 11 here is going to be the Timberwolves. Oh my goodness, I freaking love this squad, folks. Just truly unfortunate that they were kind of all injured for basically the entire season. Just started to get healthy after the trade deadline, unfortunately. But they've been making it work, folks. They're 4-0 this last week, beating the Jazz twice on the road at home, 1-1, plus 11 points, plus 10 points. That's the game we were referring to when we were taking those Timberwolves teams, plus all those points, making all that money off of them. So, gotta respect them here. Can't put them in the top 10 because they are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, so I can't have that in the top 10, folks. But I do want to shout them out. I'm so big on this Timberwolves team. I can't wait to see what they do next year, fully healthy. Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. D'Angelo Russell is coming off the bench and being fantastic, folks. We'll see if any minute now he kind of gets into that starting lineup because he is playing more minutes than Ricky Rubio, even though he is coming off the bench. But it's just absolutely fantastic what this Timberwolves team is doing. Still being competitive, even though they've got nothing to play for. I'm glad that they're kind of figuring out what this team is. So next season, if everybody stays, I hope they do, they just need to go get maybe a superstar for their starting roster, or just kind of shore up their bench a little bit with a couple of extra role players. But watch out for this Timberwolves team next year, folks. Anthony Edwards is an absolute stud. He's going to win Rookie of the Year, unfortunately, because well, let's just put it like this. Unfortunate for LaMelo Ball because he was the Rookie of the Year front runner until he got injured. But then Anthony Edwards, it's not like he's winning Rookie of the Year by default because LaMelo Ball got injured. He went and really just kind of earned it, playing very well down the stretch here in the second half of the season. So shout out to that Timberwolves team, 1,000%. I love what y'all doing. I see you out here. I know everybody else is sleeping on you. Vegas is disrespecting you by giving you all these points. We just took them +4 tonight, folks. Take them +4 tonight. It's fantastic value against the Pelicans. They're at home. They're going to win the game. Pelicans don't do anything. So, Timberwolves, number 11. Got to shout them out here. An honorable number 11 spot just of how well I see them out here, and I want to give them some recognition. Just unfortunately, mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Can't even get into the play-in tournament. But that was just due to all the injuries. They were never healthy. Karl Anthony Towns had the COVID. Truly unfortunate his situation. D'Angelo Russell injured as well, so they didn't have anybody. Anthony Edwards trying to do it all himself out here. Obviously can't do that. No rookie is going to do it all himself besides LeBron James. You know what I mean? But he's not LeBron. There's nobody like LeBron. So Timberwolves at number 11. Got to give them a little bit of a shout out. Alrighty, let's continue on with the top 10 now with a new number 10 team, and I'm a little worried about this team, folks. We're going to have to drop the Celtics down all the way from number 4 to number 10, and I'll tell you why. This last week, they went 2-3, winning against the Hornets and the Spurs. Alright, you just beat the Spurs in overtime because Jason Tatum had to drop 60 points, and that's kind of why we're dropping them down a little bit, because we can't trust anybody else. Kemba Walker hasn't been in the lineup. He's injured. Evan Fournier has been playing absolutely garbage. He had like one good game off the bench, and it was like the second game that he played in. Then he got injured again, and then he's coming back off the injury and still just cannot find his place off the bench. Can't get it done, going like 0 of 7 from the field, coming off the bench, being a starter, putting up 8 points. The Celtics need other scores. They've got Jason Tatum. They got Jaylen Brown. That's great production scoring wise. They can give us 25 to 30 points every single night. But then there's no other players to score the ball on this Celtics team. So that's why we have to just drop them so much here. If it's not Jason Tatum dropping 60, they're really not going to win any type of games out here. Evan Fournier's been an absolute disappointment here. Kemba Walker now being injured. Now, the only thing that's good about the Celtics team that has kind of gotten better since the trade deadline is they got rid of Daniel Tice, and Robert Williams in that starting 5 has been playing fantastic. Tristan Thompson has also been playing fantastic while Robert Williams has been injured. Then we just saw Robert Williams last night get back in the starting rotation. Tristan Thompson still being great off the bench. So they still got good bigs, but for scoring-wise, there's nobody else besides Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Kemba Walker is usually decent, but he's been injured these last couple of games here, so we have to drop the Celtics down. They lost against the Nets, they lost against the Thunder, they lost against the Hornets, so it's just no real great quality wins. These losses, man, it's just... There's no good offense here by the Celtics, so I can't trust their bench, can't trust Evan Fournier. We can trust Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown 1,000%. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They're absolutely fantastic for that Celtics team. But if it's not them combining for like 75 points a night, they're not going to win games. So we have to drop the Celtics down to number 10. Alrighty, Bucks are staying here at number 9. Giannis, these last couple of games, hasn't played. They won one, lost one. Dante DiVincenzo didn't play. They lost that game. Not great. For the Bucks here this last week, they did beat the 76ers without Joel Embiid, though, so was that a really great win? They also beat the Hornets and the Bulls, but then they lose to the Hawks and the Pacers. So once again, I mean, I get, Giannis not playing in any of those games, but there still should be decent kind of play here for this Bucks team. You shouldn't lose. Which one? Yeah, they lost against the Hawks. Was it the Hawks without Giannis, or the Pacers? Or the Rockets. Oh, no, the Rockets, because Kevin Porter Jr. dropped like 50 that game. But either way, still not great losses here for this Bucks team, even without Giannis. We want to see what you do without your best players, and this is why we like this Nuggets team, because they're winning without Jamal Murray still. Campazzo's filling in and filling out fantastically for this team. So I got to see what you're doing without your key players, so that's why the Bucks have to kind of stay here at number 9. Just mad this week. 3 wins, 2 losses, beating a team without your good player, and then you lose a game without your good players. It's just average. So we'll see what the Bucks do this week, but we got to keep them at number 9 this week. Alrighty, new number 8 team here. This team moving up a little bit here in our power rankings. Fantastic. The Wizards. Yes, sir. This is why we kind of have to keep the Bucks at number 9. I mean, folks, this Wizards team is really not deep, but their role players have been stepping it up every single night. Where the Bucks, you lose your starter for one game, you can't even get the win. So what's that about? So this is why we got the Wizards moving up. Fantastic. I mean, Russell Westbrook, man, he is just going and going and going and willing and will do whatever it takes, and we got so much respect for that. Who's been stepping up at the 2? Let's shout him out for a second. Because, Raul Neto has kind of been getting it done. Bradley Beal's been moved to the 3, and Raul Neto at the 2 has been absolutely getting it done, getting us those kind of 10-plus points we need by everybody else on this team. So he's been getting it done. Fantastic. Alex Len has still been a little hit and miss here. And then off the bench of Ish Smith, ever since he's been back, it's fantastic. Davis Bertans, we can usually rely on a little bit. Daniel Gafford, also off the bench, has really been getting it done here. So very well done to this Wizards team. Obviously, Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook this week, I mean, he's been cleaning cleaning up these turnovers. Their last 2 games, he had like 2 and like 3 turnovers. Absolutely magnificent. So this Wizards team needs to win. They're continuing to win. They will do whatever it takes to kind of finish off that play-in tournament at number 10. Unfortunately, they can't really, they can move up a little bit over the Pacers, so expect that to happen. But they are just kind of distancing themselves over the Bulls here for this last play-in tournament, 3 games ahead of the Bulls and the Raptors for that kind of last play-in tournament spot. So I give a lot of credit to this Wizards team. They're 9-1 in their last 10. This week they went and beat the Thunder, the Cavs twice, and the Lakers. And then they ended up losing to the Spurs in overtime by like 3 points. Truly unfortunate on that loss. Hang on. All right, we just kind of quaked there for a second. But back to the Wizards here at this. Oh, geez, what happened here? I moved my laptop for like a second and all hell breaks loose. But here we go. Back to the Wizards now. Just an absolute fantastic 9-1 in their last 10. Got to give them so much credit. Doesn't matter, as long as Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal are out there, they will do whatever it takes. They will kind of, elevate any other player it takes to perform well, to get the job done. So I give a million credit to this Wizards team, winning when they have to, trying to do something here. And this is going to be a tough out in that first round, folks, especially if they have to face the Nets at the 1-8 seed matchup, if that's where the Wizards end up. I mean, could you imagine Russell Westbrook's kind of vengeance that he wants to kind of put on that Nets team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, seeing kind of Kevin Durant choose Kyrie Irving over Russell Westbrook a little bit? So Wizards at number 8. Got to give them so much credit for winning, and we're going to do so by moving them up in our power rankings from 10 to 8. Alrighty, new number 7 team here. We're dropping this team back a little bit because we're a little nervous on this team overall. So we're going to move the Jazz back from number 3 to number 7 here. Really rough week, winning against the Kings. Okay, no, not good. Not a good win there. And then you lose to the Timberwolves twice. I know we love the Timberwolves, but still, this is not a team the Jazz should be losing to. I mean, the number 1 seed in the West, not anymore, because they just, the Suns beat them last night, and then they lose to the Suns. So, real worried about this Jazz team. We'll see if Donovan Mitchell coming back makes a difference. Obviously, it should, but this Jazz team, when there's no Donovan Mitchell, it's like they've got no leader, no will to win. Who's willing this team? Mike Conley's kind of in and out now with Donovan Mitchell out. That makes up for not good. That makes real not good there for this Jazz team. So got to move them back a lot here. I'm real scared if Donovan Mitchell does not get back for this Jazz team. He has a game time decision tonight, but if he does not get back, this Jazz team, they've got no leader. They've got no will to win. Donovan Mitchell is the lifeblood of this Jazz team. And without him, they're just kind of real mediocre. There's no urgency on the floor. There's no great kind of leadership on the floor. No real great energy on the floor either. So got to move this Jazz team back to number 7. Once Donovan Mitchell gets back healthy and they start winning games, then we can start moving them up. But without Donovan Mitchell, this team has no leader, has no purpose, has no voice, and we move them back to number 7. Alrighty, new number 6 team now. We're moving this team up a little bit here from number 8 to last week to number 6 this week. We're going to move the Nets all the way up to number 5 or to number 6 here. Now, they've had a great week here, going 4-1, beating the Celtics, the Suns, the Pacers, and the Raptors, and then losing against the Blazers last night. The only reason we are keeping them at number 6 is because Kyrie Irving can't win by himself. I mean, what is up with that? No Kevin Durant. I mean, Kyrie Irving goes and flounders, doesn't get other players involved. I mean, he had 3 assists last night. That's not, a true leader out there, true number 1 facilitating the floor. You got to facilitate the floor. So Kyrie Irving without Kevin Durant. I know there's some other big pieces out for this Nets team as well, like Nicholas Claxton. Bruce Brown didn't play last night, but folks, I'm telling you, you still got to be competitive here. You can't lose. They just lost by 20 against the Blazers last night. So this Blazers team is kind of skidding as well. They've just started on a 3-game winning streak after kind of going like 0-6 before this winning streak has adjusted. But this Nets team, man, without Kevin Durant or without James Harden, just Kyrie, it's nothing scary. Like, I would not be afraid to just go up against Kyrie Irving. Now, he is single-handedly great, but they don't win games when it's just him out there. So he does not lead to wins, and this is what we want to see. We need to see wins out here. Wizards are winning, and they've got nowhere near the talent that this Nets team has. This Nuggets team, once again, without Jamal Murray, is still continuing to win. That's fantastic. So we are going to move the Nets up a little bit because they still won 4 games this week with Kevin Durant in. But with no Kevin Durant, real no wins. So we'll just take it slow here with the Nets at number 6. Alrighty, new number 5 team. This team is getting healthy, getting right now. Fantastic. We're going to put the 76ers up here at number 5. Looking real dangerous out here when everybody's healthy. The last week, they beat the Thunder and the Hawks twice. Fantastic. And then they lost to the Bucks just because of no Joel Embiid, unfortunately. But when Joel Embiid's good to go, they're winning games. They're being dominant. I mean, this bench, man, Dwight Howard. We have to kind of speak about him as the 6th man of the year candidate. I don't know if we can give him winning it yet, but I definitely got to say top 3. No, him, Montrezl Harrell, Jordan Clarkson. Dwight Howard's been great. Shake Milton off the bench has been absolutely great. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, so freaking consistent. And then you still got Danny Green and Seth Curry. And whenever they want to step it up, I mean, they're just adding on top of it. I mean, Danny Green and Seth Curry are like their 4th and 5th scoring options. So we just need at least like one of them to kind of be on every single night. But this 76ers team, they're deep. They've got one of the best starting rosters. And once they're all healthy, like they kind of were this week, they're absolutely fantastic. So 76ers are moving up here to number 5. Alrighty, new number 4 team, and man, oh man, got to give them so much credit. The Knicks at number 4, moving all the way from 6 to 4 this week. Fantastic. This week, they beat the Raptors and the Bulls, blowout. I mean, that's what's great about this Knicks team. When they're facing below average talent, they go out and win the games, 15 to 20 points. Fantastic. Those are blowout wins. And then when they face against the good teams, they're really competitive. They either win or lose close, and that's what happened this week. They lost close against the Suns, lost by like 8 points, but they're not getting blown out against the best teams. They're all working hard. They have no real superstar. Julius Randle's their superstar, if you want to count it that. Their bench has been getting it done. Emmanuel Quickley, Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson. I mean, re-teaming up with the Bulls head coach. Damn, I'm blanking on his name, but, this kind of, rejuvenating of what they did on that Bulls team when it was Taj Gibson and Derrick Rose and the head coach of the Knicks that was the head coach of the Bulls. But, yeah, for this Knicks team, starters get it done. Bench all play great. When they're facing the best teams, they always keep it close, and I give this Knicks team so much freaking credit for winning games, blowing out the lesser competition, and then still being competitive against the best competition, because we see the Warriors, they're good against good competition, but then they play down to their competition against garbage teams. That's why the Warriors are truly not that great this season, and they're kind of flashy against, good teams on prime time because they always play up to their competition. But this Knicks team, they're a solid team. They know who they are. They don't flounder when they face garbage teams. They go and blow them out, and they're competitive against the good ones. So I got to give this Knicks team so much freaking credit, and we move them up to number 4. Number 3, we got to move back a little bit here. Their kind of magic without Kawhi Leonard has started to kind of run out a little bit. So over this last week, they just went 1-2. They beat the Rockets. That's not even a good win anymore. Truly unfortunate. And then they lost against the Pelicans and the Spurs. So just no Kawhi Leonard is truly kind of now starting to hurt this team a little bit. Paul George was trying all he could. I mean, he can kind of weather the storm for a couple of games, 5, 6, but now we're starting to talk about 7, 8, 9, 10 games being missed. It's like, Kawhi, we need you back sometime soon, please. So we know Kawhi Leonard's a game time decision tonight. He's back tonight because they are facing the Nuggets, so that's going to be, huge here. We may have to change our power rankings come tomorrow if everybody's good to go for both these teams. But, we've got to move the Clippers back a little bit this week just because they're starting to kind of run out of magic. They're starting to kind of need Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Marcus Morris. They're trying all they can. Not Patrick Beverly. I always get these two players confused. Patrick Beverly and, oh my goodness, their other point guard that's been doing absolutely fantastic. He's a little bit of a better scoring point guard. He's actually been getting it done a little bit better, in my opinion, than what Patrick Beverly has been doing for this Clippers team. Let me see if I can quickly get this up. I want to say the name. Reggie Jackson. He's been fantastic. So they've been trying all they can to get it done. But, now Kawhi Leonard, Reggie Jackson's kind of in and out of the starting lineup as well a little bit these last couple of games here. So going to have to move the Clippers down to number 3. Alrighty, this team we're moving up here in the top 2 here. The Suns, good win last night over the Nets. This last week, the Suns, they beat the Knicks, the Clippers, the Jazz. They unfortunately lost to they just beat the Jazz last night. Their one loss was against the Nets. Unfortunately, a little lackluster in the fourth quarter. Couldn't get it done. A game that Kevin Durant played. You know what I mean? But the Suns team, man, they're great. Devin Booker gets it done every single night. Chris Paul. Their bench of Dario Saric and Cameron Payne and Cameron Johnson, usually kind of, at least 2 of those players gets it done for us off the bench. So this Suns team, they just went and claimed that number 1 seed in the West by dethroning the Jazz. I mean, how much of a bigger game, of a bigger win can you get from that Suns team last night, finally getting up to that number 1 seed? So we're going to pay them off a little bit here, respect them with that number 1 seed, or that number 2 seed. And then the number 1 seed here is the Nuggets. Oh, my goodness. Without Jamal Murray, they've lost like 1 game. 2 games, I think. But this last week, the Nuggets, they beat the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, the Raptors, the Rockets, and then unfortunately just lost to the Warriors on a little bit of a fluke game. Once again, the Warriors always playing up to their competition. You know what I'm saying? This Nuggets team, Facundo Campazzo, got to give this man 1,000% credit for kind of filling in, doing what Jamal Murray does a little bit, and just letting Michael Porter Jr. be the main scorer now. How crazy is that? The man wanted this role, and he stepped up to it absolutely flawlessly. So Nuggets at number 1. Got to respect the heck out of this team, winning without Jamal Murray. Jokic is still getting it done, front runner for MVP now. Definitely now, after when Jamal Murray went down, and they're still not losing games, they're actually winning games now. So gotta give it up for this Nuggets team. Super impressive, winning without your players. That's huge in this league, folks. I don't want to hear, and I hate that argument. Oh, we didn't have this, we didn't have that. Okay, you still got other players, and you still gotta win games. So I don't care that you don't have your best players. Still show me that you can win, and that's what the Nuggets are doing. That's not what the Nets are doing. Kyrie Irving can't will his team to a win, but he wants to be claimed as a number 1 superstar in this league, and he's not. He's a great number 2, don't get me wrong, but he's not a number 1. Can't lead teams to win without other great players. So Nuggets at number 1, fantastic. Alrighty, so that's our power rankings going into this week. Timberwolves, nice little honorable mention here at number 11. Celtics at 10, Bucks at 9, Wizards at 8, Jazz at 7, Nets at 6, 76ers at 5, Knicks at 4, Clippers at 3, Suns at 2, and the Nuggets at 1. Let's quickly see anything outside looking in. I would probably put the Blazers outside looking in here of the top 10 because they've won their last 3 games, so I give them a little bit of credit. They've kind of overcame that big old losing streak. It was like 6 games at one point, so fantastic to them. Maybe the Mavericks, if they can kind of keep it up a little bit more, facing better competition. Celtics, they're already in the top 10, so that's nothing. That's really it. Not even the Heat. I don't buy the Heat at all. So there's really no teams outside looking in here. This top 10, maybe the Hawks, but they're on that 3-game losing streak, folks. I know Trae Young is now back. They just lost last night, unfortunately, with them. But let's see if now that he's back, get that first game under their belt. The Lakers, once again, LeBron James' first game back losing, but with him, getting reacclimated to kind of game shape and game momentum and all that. Potentially see the Lakers outside looking in, but yeah, this is kind of the firm top 10 here, folks. So we'll see what happens this week.